Welcome to the program, Lenore Zann. Of course, it's great to talk to you again. I got to talk to you back at the 2024 Toronto Comic Con right after the screening of the first episode of X-Men
Yes,
97.
exactly.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
that was
good time.
exciting.
Oh yeah, good
Yeah.
time definitely. And since then, lots happened for you. You've released your memoir,
Yeah.
Rogue's Tale. This book, like reading, I got a chance to read it, and it is such a deep story that hides warts and all. You really get into it.
Yeah.
Like getting so deep into the sexual assault, your struggles with alcohol, the loss of
Yeah.
your father. How
Mhm.
important was it for you to dig deep into those dark times and basically tell that part of your story?
Well, I figure if you're gonna do a memoir, you might as well talk about the bad times as well as the good times. I think if anyone's gonna take the trouble to write their life story, you're doing a disservice to readers and to fans who might want to learn more about you if you're already, a celebrity and well known. You're doing them a disservice if you don't talk about the warts and all, because really all of us have warts and all. And I think that there's a lot of people who are suffering from all kinds of things right now who can really use some inspiration, and to hear that someone has struggled with alcohol or drugs or been sexually assaulted and came through it and actually came out stronger and able to use it for good. Being able to put it into my work, losing someone deeply that you love so deeply, like my father and my young niece, and then putting that grieving into the performance for episode 5, Remember It. Um, that's something that actors can do, and we can hopefully help others feel their feelings as well, so that they can hopefully heal from whatever it is that they're either grieving from or suffering. So that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, Lenore, we as you talk about this, and I appreciate the honesty, and obviously what you're talking about in the book, but was there ever a time as you were writing, did you ever think like, well, maybe I shouldn't put this piece out on Front Street. Maybe I should hold this piece back or that piece back. Like was there ever that kind of conversation with yourself as you were going through these things? Like maybe this is a little too personal, and then but you still put it in there?
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of think about the consequences of all of it. And when you've lived a long and rich life, there are so many stories and so many things. You can't put it all into the book, or it'll be like 1,000-page book that nobody's going to
Yeah.
want to read,
Yeah.
right? So I had to pick and choose which stories to tell. And I picked the ones that I felt were the most moving for myself, that I felt others could relate to, and also it would make them have a feeling of getting to know me better, understanding where I'm coming from and where my characters come from, like where I get the strength and the emotional depth to play these roles. um, I have to say it's funny, there's I also talked about some of the sexual encounters that I had over the years, some of the love affairs and sexual encounters. And I did include one with two young Greek guys in Moscow, and my, my sister heard about it, and she goes, "I don't think you should have put that in there. I think that's you." I said, Tamara, it's my story. It's not your story. It's my story. And it's something that happened. And I talk about how they both had the same name, Aries, and how it's kind of handy if you're going to have a threesome with somebody. It's kind of nice if they both have the same name. Oh, Aries. Oh, Aries. Oh, Aries. Oh, Aries. So you don't get them mixed up, you know?
Don't get mixed up at all. That works. That comes in pretty
Yeah.
handy, definitely. Oh my
I
God.
mean, I thought it was funny. I guess
Yeah.
my sister didn't.
Oh, well, you know how siblings are. We don't really want to know what's going on with our siblings in
Right,
that department. We like some mystery when it comes to that. But
right.
I also love the fact that the whole like impetus of this book, like this book coming to be, came out of the monotony of air travel. That was when you finally had. It's like, oh, I'm stuck in a plane. I might as well start writing.
That's right. Exactly. I mean, people have told me for many, many years, you really need to write a book about your life. Whenever they've, gotten to work with me and stuff and find out more info about me and hear some of the stories, they're like, "Oh my God, you've lived 10 lives in one. You need to write it down." And I never had the time. I was always too busy. First of all, as an actor, and then going into politics for 12 years, 4 terms in office, you don't have a moment to spare. But once that ended, and then I knew I was going to be doing X-Men and reprising my role again, and started being invited to, Comic Cons to meet the fans, that's when I went, oh, you know what? I think I have the time now to do this. And yeah, as you said, I wrote a lot of it on planes because, you're just stuck there and you've got no distractions. You can't keep making up things to go and do things in the kitchen or whatever to stop, to prevent yourself from writing. But I did find that I got into the zone. And, my trip to Australia last year to see my family and to do 2 Comic Cons over there was wonderful because it's a 16-hour flight from LA to Sydney. So I wrote 4 chapters on the way there and 4 chapters on the way back. I didn't sleep. I did eat. I didn't watch any movies or anything. I just wrote. And so I wrote 8 chapters. And my dad had just passed away. And I decided it was time to go home to Australia, see the family. They all remembered him. And some of his siblings had passed away as well. So my cousins were also grieving their parents. So we got to do that together. And it just felt like the right thing to do at the time. And then that added to the chapter about my dad.
The one other thing that really stuck out for me with the book was when you talk about the dreams you have in it. You
Mm,
really get in depth. They're very vivid. Like
yeah.
they come off the page. Are you a very vivid dreamer regularly?
Yes. Yes, I am. And my dreams are very symbolic. But I think everybody's dreams, to be honest, are that way. If you just take the time to really think about them. Sometimes your subconscious is telling you things, and your subconscious is more aware about what's going on with you than your conscious self is. So, like, for instance, different times when I've had issues, like one time I was with, for a long time I was with a man, and I grew up and he kind of stayed the same. And I had a dream that I was walking in pioneer women's clothes, walking through the snow, trying to get to this little like hut, this, a comfort with a light that, and I could see it in the distance. And I was trudging through the snow and I was really having trouble getting there. And then I suddenly realized, oh, I had this baby hanging onto my ankle. And I was like, oh my God, I've got a baby on my, it was kind of like a ball and chain. And I went, oh, you baby, you think I'm your mother, but I'm not. I'm too young to be your mother. I said to this baby, but the poor little baby didn't have anybody and whatever. So I picked it up and I put it on my breast and I said, okay, I will carry you for a while longer, but only until we find your real mother. And then I woke up and I was like, I know who that is. It was like, that's exactly what was going on.
My gosh.
But I had to
Wow.
have a dream about it to really make it hit home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dreams are always a weird thing to me, like how they like I'm different than a lot of people. My dreams are usually like action movies,
Uh
like
huh.
all the time. Like that's
Right.
I very rarely. It actually worries me more when I dream of like work or something that
Yeah.
happens in my house. If it's not like aliens and robots or something like that, I think I've missed the boat on my dreams. But your dreams seem more linked to who you are.
Yeah.
All is that always been the way for you?
Yes, always.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, always. And I love dreams. I like there's a it's called the Gestalt theory where people go and they get help through talking about their dreams. You can find healing in your dreams as well. And it's called the Gestalt theory, where there's a part of you in every part of your dream. So if you actually can think about them and remember them, you can help get some healing for yourself. If you know what to do, if you know the right way to do it. But if you look up Gestalt, the Gestalt theory, it's a very interesting idea. I'm very interested in that.
No, definitely. No, that's very cool. And
Yeah.
although I think with Mr. Green, I think all the action stuff is probably depending on how late he eats before he goes to bed.
There
Uh,
you go. There you go. Yes.
That could be part of it. I don't. Or it's either that, or I am just completely trying to avoid every single issue and problem in my life. I think that's
I think a bit
probably
of a
closer.
column A, column B right there.
Oh.
Definitely. Oh my God. But
So
of
now,
course,
so have you guys have you watched X-Men 97 by any chance?
Yes,
we have, and of course, the book
it's awesome.
Rogues is called A Rogue's Tale because you do the
Yes.
voice of Rogue.
Yeah.
And X-Men 97, that the first season of this, of course, picking up from the old show. This was Rogue's season. Rogue
Yeah.
had a lot going on. You had
Yeah.
such an arc, especially,
Mhm.
of course, you brought up earlier, episode 5, Remember It,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
shows the not only the death of Remy LeBeau, but of course the destruction of Genosha. So,
Correct.
Rogue is dealing both with the loss of the love of her life, but also the dream that she was
Yeah.
embracing get
Yes.
destroyed right in front of her face. And of course,
Yeah.
you talked about it earlier that
Mhm.
you were taking the loss in your own life, the grief of the loss of your niece, and it really informed your performance. For
Yes.
you emotionally, was it a hard thing to get through the recordings?
Yeah, it was. I mean, reading the script and seeing what happened with Gambit, halfway through the first season, I was devastated. Like most Romy fans, I've always been I hope they finally can get together kind of gal. But then, having just lost my sweet young 17-year-old niece to cancer, I was so already deeply grieving her that I said to myself, well, I don't have to do any more emotional homework for this performance. I'm already doing it. I've done it. I'm ready to go. Put me in the studio, give me a mic and let me go to town because I felt like if I could just express my own real grief authentically in my voice, then others would hear that authenticity. And many people who are grieving losses would also then be triggered, to feel their feelings and hopefully have a release in tears, which would be cathartic and which would hopefully be healing for them. And that's what I hoped would happen. And apparently, it worked from what I'm hearing. I even at
Yeah.
Comic Cons, I have big, huge, strapping men come up to me and go, "You broke me. You made me cry. I never thought I could cry in a cartoon, and you made me bawl like a little bitty baby." So, but that's good.
Oh yeah, no, no,
It's
Yeah.
definitely.
good.
I
It's
also felt
healthy.
it when Rogue, of course, kind of backs away from the X-Men and joins Magneto there,
Yeah.
like that the speech that Rogue gives there as well. It's like just you can feel the anger
Yeah.
and the just the uneasiness, the fact that it's just like going through that of course the 5 stages of grief. She's in there.
Yes.
It's all there, and it's
Yeah.
like you like again, I mean, X-Men the animated series, we all enjoyed it. We all loved the message and the performances,
Mhm.
but X-Men 97 takes it up a notch to the
I
point
agree.
where it's like you're sitting there watching, it's like, how can a cartoon be this deep? Like hits you
Right?
so hard.
I
Yeah.
know. It's like watching a movie. It's like watching a feature film. Really, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Yeah. For
It
sure.
grabs you. I know that. I mean, the art is amazing and the direction is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. And when you have a vehicle like that to be able to pour then your emotions into, what a gift for an actor. I feel blessed. I feel blessed and very grateful that I was able to be given this to so that I could do the performance that in the end it was that episode that got nominated for an Emmy Award, Primetime Emmy Award. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and deservedly so too, right? Like, because like as Andrew said, like it's an amazing episode in an amazing season, and I was curious, like, what do you think about the the break, right? Because obviously X-Men 97, was coming back to it. So many fans, over the years have talked about it. There's so many things online, posts and
Yeah.
websites and videos and people breaking the old show down. And
Yeah.
it came back and it just felt like it never left. And
Good.
I'm wondering for you, like, do you think that gap really helped the show, like this coming back to 97, like that,
Yeah.
instead of just being like right after the last season previously? Like, do you think that gap really helped, not only with the stories you guys are telling, but like as you said, your performances, like everything, just it seemed like it's the perfect mix of spices
Yeah.
and make that meal so tasty and delicious.
That's interesting. Thank you for saying that because Larry Houston, who is our original director of the X-Men the Animated Series, and who, of course, is on this show, as well as Eric and Julia Lewald, the original writers, as the senior, consultations. They work with the Disney and with Marvel, and they read the scripts and everything. They give their opinions and their suggestions. So Larry, when we first did the show in the 90s, he said it was like lightning in a bottle, is the way he described it. He said the way the elements just came together and they tried different things and they tried different actors in different countries. Like they first tried it in the States, then they tried it somewhere else, and they got these voices that weren't quite right for the characters, a little bit too cartoony. And he said, and then we decided, well, let's go to Toronto. Let's check out the scene there with the actors because we were told a lot of the actors are theatrical actors. Like there's a lot of theater performers there with Stratford's there and all this kind of stuff. So that's when my agent reached out to me and said, Lenore, there's this new animated series that they're looking for a woman who's got a deep, husky, sexy voice who can do a Southern accent. And she said, it's you. Like you got to audition. And I didn't because I was too busy. I was doing movies and television and live theater. I had just I'd done Unidentified Human Remains and the True Nature of Love, a play by Brad Fraser in Toronto for 9 months. Then I went to Chicago with it for a year and then off Broadway for a year. And then I had just come back to Toronto. And so I was busy, and I was a serious actress. So I was kind of like, whatever. And then she called me again and said, Lenore, they still haven't found the right actress for that role because it's you. Get your ass in gear and get down there and audition for it. So, so I said, okay, I'll go down. And this was the callbacks now. And I just walked in. I took a look at the picture of her with her hand on her hip and her head flown back and the beautiful hair. I went, oh, she's got sass and attitude. I think I can do that, And then I just walked in, put the headphones on, and the producers and we're all in L.A. And I just did the little paragraph they had there that was her lines. My daddy liked to kill himself when he found out I was a mutant. I remember when I was 13, I had me a boyfriend. Had me a boyfriend till I kissed him. Poor boy went into a coma for 3 days. You know? And then I heard all these screams and the other end of it. And it turns out it was Larry Houston, he tells me, who went, don't let her leave the building. That's the voice. That's the one we've been waiting for. You know? So yeah, so he called it lightning in a bottle.
Oh my
And
God.
how do you make lightning in a bottle happen twice, right? But this we seem to have the ingredients with this one, with X-Men 97. So it's been a treat to come back, and everybody's been so good to us, and the new cast are lovely. It's great to see the original cast back again, and it's really nice for us to be able to go to these comic cons now and meet the fans who were little kids when we first did the show, and now they're adults with children of their own, many of them. And so we're meeting like grandfathers, grandmothers, parents, children, 6 years old, watching the show, who say they love this show. So, lightning in a bottle,
Definitely,
That's
definitely.
awesome.
you know?
Generational story, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But of course, right now people can also see you on the sci-fi and CTV sci-fi series Revival. The
Yes.
first three episodes have been airing. We actually got a chance recently to talk with Melanie Scrofano,
Oh,
who's great.
fantastic.
Yeah, and
He's so good.
yeah, and it's such a great show, really interesting from what we've seen. So what's it been like for you yourself getting to have such great scene partners like Melanie Scrofano and David James Elliott and Andy
I love
McQueen?
them. Oh yeah, they're fantastic. And also Glenn Gould, who is an indigenous Mi'kmaq actor from Nova Scotia. He plays one of the deputies, one of the deputies, and he's from Nova Scotia, like me. I think we're the only two Nova Scotians in it, and so it's been really great. But it's neat because when my first day when I showed up on set, both of the producers slash showrunners, writers were wearing X-Men t-shirts. So, so I went, okay, I think I'm in the right place. I think it's like we're a family. The scripts for that one are great too. It's really exciting. And we shot it down in New Brunswick. So I would fly into Halifax and then from Halifax to New Brunswick, and it's going to be really good. I mean, we're off to a good start with #1 on Peacock in the States and a 92% approval rating for Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
X-Men, of course, got 100%,
Of
Yes.
course, yes.
which is amazing. I mean, holy moly. But, I to have two shows like this back to back, one last year and one this year, I'm pinching myself.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it obviously we love X-Men 97. Revival, big fan. I'm really
great.
enjoying that. And getting to see you on screen too, just in the moments you show up and there's not the southern sass, but a little bit of sass,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
I've in all the things I've seen where you see you talk and talking to you tonight, it's just it seems very fitting. Like I really appreciate the just the fun. You always seem to be like
A little feisty.
yeah, and having fun with it. Like there's just
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not just going to answer your question. I'm gonna give you a little something and a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Exactly. And imagine that in the House of Commons,
Yeah,
yes, I
right?
I that's yes. I think more politicians need that.
Right.
I think
Right.
that sorry, and of course actually talking to each other instead of
Yes.
yelling.
Yes.
You
mm,
know,
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm thinking, I'd probably have a second book in there, something like Rogue Goes to Parliament or something like
there you
that,
go. Yeah,
yeah.
you know?
get more in depth on that. Definitely. Oh my God.
I'm sure there's some stories there too.
You betcha. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to thank you so much for talking with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
The last episode of X-Men 97 this past year, when Rogue says his name was Gambit, remember it,
Yeah.
was that again was if I wasn't already knocked on my ass, I was knocked on my ass again with that
Mm,
line. And I'm looking forward to more X-Men 97. I'm looking forward to more people checking out the book of Rogue's Tale, which is a great
thank
read.
you. Yeah.
And I couldn't put it down. So
And I've heard that. I've heard once you start, I've heard people have read it in 24 hours or 48 hours. Um, and they just go, it's such an adventure. So I'm so glad. And then down the line, at some point in the next month or so, probably a couple months, the audio book will be out. So keep an eye out for that as well. And that's with me reading my own story.
Definitely.
my own
Well,
origin story.
looking forward to that. I know Green loves audiobooks, so he'll
Yeah,
probably pick
Oh,
that
yeah,
up.
great.
I'm a big audiobook fan. It'll
Yeah.
be awesome to hear it in your own words, like you coming through
Yeah.
your voice,
Right.
and I'm sure that there'll be a few moments throughout that book where we'll hear some of the emotions come through, and
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
yeah.
You
And
know,
probably, and also hear you say Aries multiple times. So
Well,
there's
yeah,
that.
yeah,
well, it's funny too, because when I started looking back at my life and I went, oh, the first award I ever got was when I was 26, and I won Best Actress Award across Canada for a radio drama that I did for CBC called Saltwater Moon. It was by David
oh,
French. Yeah, by the Newfoundland playwright David
yeah,
French, who became my dear friend, of course. I've talked about him in the book. But I won an ACTRA award for that. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow. So even then, I was starting to show the thing about the voice, before I even thought about, oh, being a voice actor or whatever. I just say I'm an actor. I do it all: movies, TV, theater, voiceovers, you name it.
it's
Definitely.
I
Wow.
awesome.
love it.
And
Love it all.
we love it too, and we
Yes,
want you to keep
Thank you.
doing it. So
absolutely.
thank you so much for talking with us tonight. Have yourself a great night, Lenore.
You too. And thank you for having me on. And bye, sugar.
Bye bye.
Bye.